If you want to know what's going on in Rockingham County government, check out Rockingham County 411. If you're interested in county governmental programs, projects, and services, don't miss Rockingham County 411. Public Information Officer Mabel Scott will share important, crucial news you can use with Rockingham County 411.
Rockingham County 411, you're in a good place. I'm Mabel Scott, your Public Information Officer, and today we're going to talk about something exciting that is here now in Rockingham County in Wentworth, the Charters of Freedom. And talking with us today, we have the chairman of the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners, Charlie Hall, and we have Bonnie Joyner, who's going to tell you what she did to help to get the Charters of Freedom here in Rockingham County. So let's start with you, Bonnie. What are the Charters of Freedom?
Well, charters I think of as, we call it a site, but you probably think of it more as a memorial where you have life-size replicas of the founding documents of our country, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and they're there for all to see.
Okay. Now, tell us how Foundation Forward Incorporated is all mixed up with the Charters of Freedom, and tell us about their mission.
Your mission is to really preserve and teach those basic principles about American history, our foundations, our just what happened and why we have a great America.
And tell us a little bit more about the Charters of Freedom in regards to access, education, and community.
Well, their goal is to have it accessible in a central location in the county where everyone can get to it 24/7, handicap accessible, good parking, so everybody can be there, whether you're students or veterans or disabled. The education part is they have a curriculum developed to fit the curriculum of the state that they give to the schools free of charge to teach the basic foundations of our government, for civics and even elementary kids, how they learn about what happened in the days past and how we came about founding this country. Community is just so that everybody can come, whether you're scouts or veterans groups, come and see them, because they're more impressive when you see them firsthand, because they're just what you would see if you went to DC to see them. They're there for everyone in the county to see.
Vance and Mary Jo Patterson, they had quite a vision.
They did. I think Vance and Mary Jo went there when they were about 60 to Washington and saw them. And he's like, why did I wait this long to be here? And you think about why, if you're a school child, you might go when you're in the 5th grade to take your DC trip. Mm-hmm. What if you live in California and you've got to come across? When are you ever going to get to DC to see those? Because when you stand there and look at them and realize what's behind them, it's really a special moment. And his vision was to bring those to every county, especially North and South Carolina, but across the nation. He's actually getting ready to do one in Alaska. So they're getting ready to go everywhere so that you can have them up close and personal and see them.
And your initial involvement, tell us what happened.
I was in Lenoir, spring of 2019, and I saw a site under construction. And it looked interesting, but it had a little plaque, a little sign telling what it was. So I did some research, figured out what it was and thought it was pretty neat. Went to visit some other sites around the state because they're all built kind of differently. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this is pretty cool. We need this. And when I realized how it actually works, I was like, yeah, we got to get this in Rockingham County. So I started the process to make it happen.
Oh, boy. So I'm thinking about what you just told us, how you were a teacher. Mm-hmm. How did you, being an educator, all fit in with this whole idea of charters?
Well,
freedom?
People find it interesting. I'm not a history teacher. I'm a math teacher.
And that's why I asked you
right.
earlier.
But I'm an educator. And through the
Yes.
years of almost 50 years in the classroom, I have seen how our classrooms and our curriculum have changed. And we do not teach the history of our nation. And we have a unique system of government that's nowhere else in the world. And we don't teach that like we used to. And I think it's neat to see that incorporated again and be here for all our kids to learn.
I have to agree with you, because all throughout, from kindergarten on up,
Sure.
I mean, American history, civics. Oh, civics, that was it.
Had to have civics.
Yes.
Right.
And we read the newspaper every day, and we were able to actually see history and see current events and how they all fit in with
Sure.
civics. And that made the classroom a lot more fun. Yes, relevant. What was your big dream for the Charters of Freedom and Rockingham County NC?
Well, I think, like I said, when you see it up close and personal, you understand. I think about if you're an NFL star today, you were taught as a child the rules of the game, and you had a passion for that game. We have neglected to continue to teach our children the rules of the game, of how we play, what happens in this country, how we have a government that's unique. It has 3 branches that do checks and balances. And I think if we teach that, they will develop an understanding so that they will have a love for America, and they will have a passion to preserve those freedoms and to make sure that they honor those who help make them continue.
So why did you form the Charters of Freedom Steering Committee, and who was involved?
When I found it, I thought it's going to take a lot of people to make this happen, or a lot of contacts, and I wanted it to be a community project. So I looked for people who were of all ages, young or old, different political views, different ethnicities, different contacts from veterans to whatever, because they would know people that I wouldn't know. And we could tap into all those areas. Plus, they would all have ownership in the project, and that was what I wanted.
Good. So Charlie Hall, our leader for the county commissioners, tell us about your participation on the steering committee.
Well, I was very thrilled when Bonnie reached out and asked that I participate. I just thought it was a wonderful opportunity for the county, and for me to be a part of it, I was just very honored.
Now, as the chairman of the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners, why was this a great idea?
Well, I think it's a great idea for everybody, because so many times, especially for us in Rockingham County, we hear of things, or we hear about our government, and we think it's so far away. But in reality, it's right here. And so by bringing those documents here to Rockingham County, where our students can actually see them, see the signatures of real people who actually lived on these documents, it brings it to life again. So it brings it home. And hopefully it'll be more meaningful to our students.
How did the local steering committee help fulfill the dream for the Charters of Freedom to actually be here in Rockingham County?
Wow, it took so many moving pieces for this to happen. And Bonnie had put together such a great team that from securing donations for concrete, the concrete installation, the brick, mortar, other folks to do different parts of the work. And understand, I think you're going to touch on this in just a minute, but there were no tax dollars used. This was all privately funded. And so all these moving pieces had to be coordinated, and that's what the team did that Bonnie had put together. But as well as that, let me leave it at that for now, because I think we're going to go over some more in just a moment.
So there were no tax dollars involved with the Charters of Freedom project?
That's correct.
Okay.
So this was all with private funding. Now, I will say that there was some participation with county staff. Ronnie Tate and our maintenance department, they went out and provided some labor, in-kind labor, and our county manager, Lance Metzler, was able to help coordinate things and allowed these guys to do that. But so far as dollars for materials or subs or other things, no, there were no tax dollars used.
So the actual cost for the Charters of Freedom project originated from the materials, the labor, the money from citizens?
And yes, now this originated from other citizens in other locations.
Okay.
Where these had been put in place, and thus the name Foundation Forward. So what they're doing is they're paying it forward. So a lot of the donations that we receive here in Rockingham County, they'll actually be going to put another one of these installations in another county seat, maybe here in North Carolina, maybe elsewhere. But so, we're paying it forward, and that, I think, plays on the name that they came up with.
That's an ingenious idea of
It is.
setting it up. What about the various pavers, the plaques, the stakeholders, the corporate sponsors? Those are all the people who help to donate and contribute, right?
They are. I know we had great sponsors, Ray Concrete, Chandler Concrete, Pine Hall Brick, Rodriguez Family Masonry, and others. I don't have the complete list, but I do know of those who they participated and donated their time, efforts, materials to make this possible.
So tell us about the official dedication ceremony held outside the Rockingham County Justice Center, the courthouse.
What a wonderful day it was, so meaningful. We had all 4 bands from all 4 high schools playing patriotic music, and just really did a great job. The kids participated and had a good time. We had representatives, most of the county commissioners were there. We had representatives from Patrick McHenry's office. Jerry Carter was there. We had representatives from Tom Tillis's office. And it was just.
Mark Robinson.
Yeah, Mark Robinson. I know it was another Mark Robinson, and he basically gave the keynote. Clarence Henderson, a wonderful civil rights leader, was there, and he gave the invocation. So it was just a wonderful time for all age groups to get together. We had high school kids all to senior citizens. We had Paul Pruitt was there, 100-year-old veteran.
Yes.
And we also had Mr. Riley from Reidsville. He's also a 100-year-old veteran from World War II.
Terry Sharp.
That's right, Terry Sharp that was there, the walking Marine. He works steadfastly to shine a light on suicide
Yes.
rates for
Yes.
Marines. Wonderful patriotic people here for this dedication. That just tells you that it really, truly is important.
And then I think you all were doing a collaboration with Mark, with the museum
Right.
here, where the students had to write essays and.
Yeah, no, that's right. Part of the piece which we haven't highlighted, but Bonnie did speak, is the educational piece. The museum sponsored essay writing contest, and they had the 3 winners there. It was
Yes.
3 winners.
5, actually.
So they had the winners there for these essays, and they presented theirs, and they will be put in the time capsule that will be opened. I don't know that I'll still be around, but a few years from now.
Hey, with all of the new medical technology, we'll all be around.
You
Yes.
never know, but that educational piece to educate people on the founding of our country, and the rights. One of the unique concepts, as you touched out, is that the government doesn't grant people rights. The government has delegated authority to the government. The people have delegated authority to the government.
We the people.
That's right. We the people
We
have
the
done
people.
that. So this highlights that, and hopefully people won't forget that, because with so many people focusing on other things these days, we just felt it was necessary to bring this light back to focus on our origins.
It was a bright, sunshiny day. You had a huge crowd. You had the lieutenant governor here, and he always gives a very passionate speech.
He does.
Presentation. What about the overall response as you walked around and talked to people?
Well, again, as you could tell from the people that were in attendance, everyone knew that it was momentous and very meaningful for the community. And I think that was the gist of, with everyone that I spoke with, was that we were so honored and pleased to have this here, because I think it's going to mean so much for our students. I think that our students in this community will be impacted for years and years to come due to this monument.
So future participation by local groups and children, your grandchildren, your great-grands?
I hope so. I hope the schools will pick up this educational piece and promote this to the fullest extent. And I believe they will. We had a lot of involvement from educators, from Dr. Mark Kinlaw from RCC, Dr. Shotwell with the school system,
Yeah.
as well as a couple of school board members, Paula Rakestraw and Kimberly McMichael were on the steering committee. So I think that with this information provided by the Foundation Forward, the schools will be able to utilize this as a training tool and maybe take trips to come see these documents without having to leave the county. So it really allows them to do this at a much lower cost than it would be to plan a trip out of the county.
And all local people should know where our courthouse is.
Right.
And our county governmental building, and
Yes,
those are important
and it's centrally located,
It
so it should
is.
be convenient for everyone
here in
to
Wentworth.
access, yes.
Yes, yes. And then the cannons at the end.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we had the Marine, the Marines, I don't want to call them a firing squad, that's not the right word.
Cannoneers.
Yeah, cannoneers, there we go.
Cannoneers, yeah.
So they were here celebrating that.
So, Bonnie, in regards to the dedication of the Charters of Freedom, what were some of the most memorable moments for you?
Well, one, I had a lady, a friend who said, send a paper form to a friend of hers, and I sent one. You know, I've given them to plenty of people. Next week, I got a really nice thank you note from her who said she was so pleased to be able to honor her husband who'd been a veteran. And I said, okay. But she came up to me at the dedication, introduced herself because I didn't know her, and I saw her take a picture of her brick that she had bought for her husband, and it was really touching. But I think the most memorable thing is when Terry Sharp brought those flags, gave them to the veterans. They walked through the ROTC, those flags from the different branches flying and all the law enforcement and first responders around it. And I looked up at that blue sky, which we were so fortunate
It
to have
was,
that day.
it was. That's
And I
what,
saw that flag flying, and it's all over 150 of our young people started to play the national anthem. I've heard several people say, I had a lump in my throat and a tear in my eye, and I understand that. And I think it was that pride in America that I want to see return to all of us, young and old. When we see that flag and we look at those documents and we hear that national anthem, to believe that we're in the best country in the world, and we need to cherish that and honor those who've given us that choice.
what about future civic involvement?
Well, I hope everybody goes to see it. That's one thing. Because I tried to tell people about it for 2 years, but then when you see it right there, you really get the impact. Also, just spread the word. I think bring your kids and your grandkids, tell them what it's all about, show them. And talk to businesses, donate. Buy a paper to honor your family or you're a veteran you know. If you're a small business, donate to show your support for what we're doing in our community projects. And I think if they learn these freedoms, if they understand what we really have, then it will make an impact on all of us, young and old. And that's my goal.
Bonnie,
Yes.
on behalf of our county commissioners, I really want to offer you a heartfelt thank you for all your efforts to bring this to fruition. We really do appreciate it.
Well, it was hard during, with COVID and all kinds of things coming against us, but we persevered. And I think it'll be worth it.
And that's what America has always been about, persevering.
And I have a brick over there, and one of my bricks says, a legacy is not what you leave for your children or those behind you, it's what you leave in them. And I think we need to instill a love for our country and the freedom that we share and pass that along.
A lot of times people have to leave the country and maybe go abroad for a
Exactly.
short vacation. And when you come back, you see, oh my God.
Exactly.
Now I understand why we do the Pledge of
Exactly.
Allegiance.
Right.
And that was something all of my life, Sunday school, church, school, every morning, we did the Pledge of Allegiance.
Absolutely.
Yes. So it was in your heart. And that's where it has to be, in your heart.
Yep.
Well, we certainly want to thank the chairman of the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners for being with us, and thank you, Bonnie, this visionary, for being with us here on 411. Anything else you all would like to say? Invite folks to come over to Wentworth and see the Charters of Freedom?
Please do. Please come to the courthouse look at those documents 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're available.
And it wasn't until you all said that it clicked 24/7. You're right. Yes.
They will be lit at night. There's free parking there, access for everybody.
Free parking.
And it's a 501(c) or whatever you call that.
C3.
C3, so make a donation so other counties can have this. Some counties are very urban and they have lots of big companies that can donate money. That helps when other counties like ours that are smaller and more rural don't have as much funds. But we each work toward making it pay forward to the next one, and that's a great philosophy.
Everybody working together.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about. Thank you so much for being with us and give us updates. We hope to hear from you all again.
Thank you.
Rockingham County, you're in a good place.